Hey yo, what the fuck, man? Hey yo, fuck, hey yo, I'm Waze. I'm a history buff and shit. I'm a history buff and shit, and I want to talk about this. Hold up. Yo, yo, hold up. I'm on my laptop right now. Yo, I want to talk about this story. I'm about to tell you guys a story. But before I get into the topic that's in the title, about hip hop history. Before I get to that, I want to tell you a story real quick. It's like I see it through this story. I see it through differently though. And and yeah, so I'm right here on the screen and shit. This so yeah, I'm a history buff, and I'm like I'm a big fan of hip hop and shit. So I'm a history buff, and yeah. So this is gonna be like about hip hop history, and let's tell you a story first. Let me tell you a story first. I am in school one day. I'm in high school. I'm a junior, so last year, which I was a sophomore, and one day I walked in my third period classroom, and that the students in that class were aware I was a rapper, so on, so on. Keep in mind this is my math class, so yeah. So one kid told me to spit a freestyle or just rap in general, and there's this student there's this student retard looks like at me. The student retard looks at me like an idiot, and I'm like, and I'm, and I'm and starts to give a hating attitude, and I ignore this fool and start rapping over a beat. That one kid told me to spit something. He played Shook One's beat on his phone to spit something on, and so on. And so yeah, soon after I finished that rapping, a black in a black kid in the class, and keep in mind all the other kids in there were already in there were Latino kids, and so yeah, the kid that walked was my homie who rapped. I rap battled him before, and yeah, he was a rapper too. A one kid got mad for some reason and started saying false claims. So I filed claims to the black kid and saying I said the N word, which I'm like what the fuck, and the black kid started roasting me, and yeah, everything was just the point make is so the point I'm trying to make is that I personally feel the Latino kid with the big mouth felt that rap or hip hop was only a black thing, and that why he gave me that negativity and just didn't like the fact that I was rapping. So this story inspired me to make this video, and it's about hip hop history, and hip hop was created by blacks and Latinos in the South Bronx of New York City. That's a fact. Period. Like that's just a fact. That's just like I'm not saying only blacks and Latinos should make hip hop, but you know that's just facts. It's history. You know, I'm just speaking like history perspective and just what who created it, where hip hop came from and all that. Cause not everybody apparently is not aware of that. They just want to speak ignorantly and stuff. So yeah, and so yeah, there's gonna be more focus on just shouting out the hip hop pioneers, and I'm about to read this article that's from that I found on the internet. Um, this is about old hip hop group called the Four Cold Crush MCs, the Cold Crush brothers, and they're big like in the mid to late 70s. They're already big in the late 70s, but they actually started recording shit like in the mid early 80s and shit. In the early 80s. The Alright, the four Cold Crush MCs rap in harmony, hyping the crowd. Alright, hold up. Harmony, hyping the crowd. Meanwhile, their DJs support them with the next set of fused sounds, preparing them to break off and spotlight their intricate play on words meant to outrhyme and outwit the opponent of where a hip hop head in the 1970s and the 80s and couldn't make it into the MC battle that week. You could get a tape recording that caught all the beats made by bodies on the dance floor, MCs on the mic, and DJs on the turntables. In the new expedition places of invention, the Boogie Down Bronx is featured as the birthplace of hip hop, home to African Americans and Caribbean immigrants from the places such as Puerto Rico and Jamaica. It is undeniable that Latinos were at the very root of hip hop before it spread beyond the cracked asphalt roads and the abandoned buildings of the 1970s Bronx. Through a series of interracial friendships and connections between African Americans, Caribbeans, and Latinos, hip hop was born. The vibrant, innovative music flourished and brightened the lives of those in the borough. And there's a picture right there. The Cold Crush Brothers formed in the Bronx in 1978 and was on the early hip hop groups, pictured front left to the right. Already, Almighty KG. Here's KG. I don't know who this is, but Almighty KG, Easy AD, JDL, Grandmaster Kaz, DJ Tony Tone, DJ Charlie Chase in the back. There's DJ Charlie Chase. He's Puerto Rican, and all these, and he's the co-founder of the Cold Crush group, hip hop group, with Tony Tone. Tony Tone and DJ Charlie Chase. They're the leaders of the Cold Crush group, and courtesy of Jones and Cornell University Library. In the borough burning with the sounds of salsa, disco, funk, and rock. What blended them all was the percussion. Pioneering DJs were searching for the break, which refers to the portion in a record that strips the song down to heavy syncopation or percussion. The break was got people dancing. The most popular mixes with the breaks was Latin flair. Musicology Marquette says that salsa is a lot like the music early hip hop DJs played because it too had an extended percussion break. The salsa percussion heard blaring throughout the Bronx were subsequently and consciously fused with other genres to create hip hop music because those were the sounds available when known to the forerunners of hip hop. The turntable was used by 1970 hip hop leader DJ Grandmaster Flash. Shout out to him, he's dope. DJ Charlie Chase spun disco records and played in a salsa band until 1977 when he took a liking to a Grandmaster Flash music and skill. This is false. Charlie Chase was actually in the hip hop game in 1975. I don't know why they said it, but yeah, let's continue. Charlie Chase received his name because he aspired to reach Grandmaster Flash ability and decided to chase his goal of becoming equally as talented. So, I mean, the Cold Crush are worldwide famous, so he actually achieved his goal and surpassed Flash's Grandmaster Flash ability. The self-proclaimed first Latino DJ, DJ Disco Wiz. Now, DJ Disco Wiz was with Grandmaster Caz, which you see right here. I think that's the Grandmaster Caz is like right here. I think right here. So DJ Disco Wiz was big homies with Grandmaster Caz, who is Puerto Rican and Cuban descent. Started DJing in 1974 alongside his best friend Grandmaster Caz, a legendary MC member of the Cold Crush Brothers. Disco Wiz admits that his exposure to salsa at home is what attracted him to the breaks that make hip hop unique. However, you cannot play a blatant salsa record while DJing for a hip hop audience, says DJ Charlie Chase, who is a Puerto Rican descent and a co-founder of the influential Cold Crush Brothers, or else a party will leave the dance floor. DJ Charlie Chase will discreetly mix in salsa beats and the party would enjoy it without recognizing that it was salsa they were dancing to. So salsa was a huge influential to hip hop in the early days. Charlie Chase spinning using turntables and a mixture in his South Bronx High School gym, 1980, courtesy of Joe Conzo and Cornell University Library. At times, DJ Disco Wiz and DJ Charlie Chase activity in hip hop will be criticized by their Latino and African American counterparts as trying to adopt the latter's music, but why? This was new identity being expressed by second generation Latinos different from their parents. The Latino sound is embedded into hip hop, though it is not explicit because hip hop pioneers drew influence from what was around them. The pioneer hip hop DJs of the Bronx, such as DJ Kool Herc, Afrika Bambaataa, and Disco Wiz, used their diverse backgrounds to create a new sound from a shared experience. Oppressed community of the United States and their cities. African Americans, Latinos, and other Caribbean cultures collaboratively planted the seeds of now global hip hop culture. And hold up, let me switch up. I got another. And look, if you go over here, there's another. Ruby D. Let's say Ruby D Foundation. So yeah, and I have this other shit right here. Okay, so And then we got right here Ruby D. Alright, so this is an interview of DJ Charlie Chase. I mean Ruby D, and he's an MC from the Furious Five. Hold up, he's an MC from the Furious Five. See, Grandmaster Theodore and Fantastic Five, also known as the Fantastic Freaks or simply Fantastic Five, was an old school hip hop group, best known from their 12th single, "Can I Get a Soul Clap," 1980. Grand Wizard Theodore, Master Rob, Prince Whip Rip, Ruby D, Ruben Garcia, Dot, and Nice. So, Grand Wizard Theodore is known for scratching, I believe. I don't know. Scratching the eardrum, yeah. And look, those are that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's a group. No, I think there's videos. So this is a video of the Fantastic Five. Fantastic Five rapping back in like in the early 80s. And keep in mind, this is way before, you know, this is when just this is when just you know, blacks and Latinos were in the game. You know, nobody else was in the game after like I mean 1985. What's it called? Rick Rubin. You know, he played a huge part in hip hop, but that was 1985. That was in the mid 80s. Hip hop was already implanted and huge after that. So, you know, black Latinos are only in like truly into hip hop in like this is the 70s, mid to late 70s. So this is a film from Wild Style. Alright, hold up, Charlie. What the? God damn. So like, I'm assuming that's MCs right there. So that's Ruby D right there.
That's the reason I attract all the street fly girls. The other reason is style and profile. The main so the lady know I'm worth the five. Cause I'm too hot to burn. You told the hoes Ruby D's in the place. And you must play so I'm bad. Super bad, oh bad, I'm the man. Keep on and rock the house. Come on, come on, come on.
So there it is, right there. And that is another interview. So this is like this is the early 80s right here. Alright, I'm about to show you this other video. It's an interview by Charlie Chase, and it tells you the roots and hip hop. Tells you what's up back in the day in hip hop.
Well, I'm fresh, cause I'm the best. And I get wild when I'm wild. I never get past five, cause I'm fly. And I'ma put you on hold, cause I'm bold. And Charlie Chase will last, cause he's fast. And Tony Tone got full, cause he's original. The cold crushes.
So, oh shit, the internet's
Oh, when I'm wild, I never get past five, cause I'm fly. And I'ma put you on hold, cause I'm bold. And Charlie Chase will last, cause he's fast. And Tony Tone got full, cause he's original. The cold crush is on, cause we perform. Even in a storm, we'll keep you warm. Hey, crew.
My name is DJ Charlie Chase of the world famous Cold Crush Brothers, the legendary Cold Crush Brothers, or as Grandmaster Kaz likes to call us, the architects of hip hop. Started back in 1975 in the Bronx, basically with a crew called Tom and Jerry. It was a disco DJ group. They were actually members of my band. One day, I went to the keyboards player's house to pick him up to go to a gig that we had. And when I went inside his house, he was DJing, and I had never actually seen DJing before. It was the first time I had ever seen that. And I was watching, you know, the way he was working it, the mechanics, how it was making it happen, and like the flow, and being that I'm kind of a techie nerd person, where just watching all that really, you know, excited me, and I caught interest in that. And a couple of times of going back to see him and watching him do it, I caught the bug and decided to want to be a DJ. I come from a family of musicians, and I've always liked the funk, and I've always liked rock, and I've always liked funk music and soul music. That was always in my blood. I grew up listening to Sly Stone and all that. So when I first heard guys rhyming on a mic, you know, and they weren't even really rhyming like we were rhyming then. They would just like blurt out little things.
see, they weren't even rhyming, bro. They were just blurring out words, bro. This is how you know he was like straight up way at the beginning of the hip hop stages.
The little nursery rhymes here and there. That combined with the DJ mixing beats, you know, and certain records, and they weren't really mixing them that well either. They were just trying.
See, like a bunch of people weren't even established and contributing properly into the hip hop culture.
To mix at that time. Remember, we're at the early stages of hip hop. So when I saw that, I was really intrigued by that. And I said, this is what I want to do. This is like, I was already a DJ and a musician. I was already playing in a band. But when I saw that, I said, this is what I want to do. This is the kind of music I want to DJ. And I started playing with doing that. And I got really good at it, man. I mean, the word got out, you know, what I was doing. I was getting popular. I was putting out mixtapes and stuff like that. every time we'd go somewhere, and me and Tony would go together, they would say, hey, they will make announcements. DJ Charlie Chase and Tony Tone's in the house. So people would come over to say what's up to us, but they'd walk over to me and say, yo, Tony, what's up? And because they knew Charlie Chase was bad on the one and twos, but they figured the black guy was Charlie Chase because they couldn't picture a Puerto Rican rocking the one and twos the way they heard it on the cassettes. And Tony would say, no, I'm Tony. That's Charlie. And they'd have this stunned look on their eyes like, really? Like for real? They don't believe it. They wouldn't believe it until they actually saw me play, and then they accepted it then. But the problem that I...
So you also was a dope ass DJ. They accepted that fool.
I was having with that was that I was getting a lot of pushback. There was a lot of prejudice in the sense that the blacks were telling me, you know what, man, go back to your cowbells and your music. You don't belong here. And then the Hispanics were telling me, what the hell are you doing, man? What are you doing playing that Jungle Bunny music, And I was getting criticized by both sides. What are you doing? And, me, I always stuck to my guns. I never listened to what anybody said. I put on my blinders, I focused, and I said, this is what I'm doing, whether you fucking like it or not. This is what I'm doing. And I stuck to it, man. And, it was a dream that came true for me. One of the things that, the way that my name came about was because I wanted to battle Grandmaster Flash at the time. And Flash was one of the kids in the neighborhood who was already established. He was already DJing. And this is pre-scratching now. We're talking before even the scratch was created, and all of that. And that's how my name came about because...
So it was before even scratching, bro.
Because I was trying to come up with different concepts for a name because, my real name is Carlos Mendez. Can you imagine somebody, DJ Carlos Mendez in hip-hop? Nah, man, I was not going to fly, So I said I need a stage name. So I came up with the stage name Charlie Chase because I figured, Flash was ahead of me and I'm behind him and it's like I'm chasing him. So I said that fits perfectly. Let me call myself Charlie Chase. We influenced so many people, artists like Will Smith, Run DMC, people like LL Cool J. There were just so many people that have come up to us and said, if it wasn't for you guys influencing me, this is...
See, they influenced LA Cool J, who was like a 16-year-old MC who was making the game. He was rocking.
Them talking to me, they're like, we wouldn't be who we are now. Kid Rock told me the same thing. One day we saw Kid Rock up at Seattle for the opening of the Jimi Hendrix museum, the Experience Project, and I have him on videotape saying if it wasn't for the Cold Crush, I'd probably be herding cattle somewhere on a farm. We influenced a lot of people, man. So I think if the business end would have been different, we would be financially successful like everyone else was, maybe more. If I knew then what I knew now, I would have definitely not made the same mistakes that I made back then, which were a lot of mistakes. Since we didn't know what we were doing, we didn't have any experience in the music business, we left our business in the hands of other people who some were good, some had good intentions, but just didn't know what they were doing either, and some of them weren't with good intentions, and we suffered for that, we were the first group signed to a CBS associated label. It was CBS Records at the time. We were the first hip-hop record group signed. And the problem that CBS was having with us because we were so new, to them, they didn't know how to market us. They didn't know how to promote us. They didn't know anything about us.
So Cold Crush worldwide famous. See, look in the comments. So Ruby D. So this is an interview, like another interview on Ruby D. I mentioned him earlier, and he's like, "Do you remember any other Spanish MCs or DJs back then?" And he said, "Charlie Chase and Disco Wiz." Disco Wiz was Kai's DJ, right? Right, he was Puerto Rican. I really don't remember anyone else. Wade was probably out before me, but I got the credit of being the first Puerto Rican. When I got on stage, you knew I was Puerto Rican. I talked Spanish on the mic. So, keep in mind, he's like in the early, late 80s, probably before Rapper's Delight even came out. Like, I was like before Rapper's Delight came out. Did you ever have Spanish rhymes? Yeah, we had one routine when we battled the Funky Four of the audio battle room. We had our own rhymes said when it was running your turn. When it was turn, I said Spanish, Ruby D, the romantic, and Kev, so hold 'em dot. See, they're speaking Spanish. Whip Rape is black and Puerto Rican mixed. Whip Rape, here's another MC with Ruby D. And Whip Rape, he was rapping. Yeah, he was a little, but he was rapping before Ruby D, and he's half black and half Puerto Rican. So yeah, there's Charlie Chase. All right, so yeah, there's Charlie Chase, you know, DJing in the early '80s. I think that's Grandmaster Caz. It's right there rocking it. That's Tony Tone, Charlie Chase, and some girl right there. They're like 15 years old right now. They're like 15 teenagers doing this shit. And they'll always take pictures. The course always has images of them, you know, with different outfits and stuff, cause they're world famous and shit. I think they're the first hip hop group to tour around the world. You know, they went to Japan and toured. I think there's a video of them, right? Cold Crush. Right here, Wild Style Japan. And there's Charlie Chase as the DJ, and then some some MC. I forgot his name, but yeah.
The other one that wanted my gold, he said, I give him up, but now he said so. If you want to live, go, oh, check it out. I said, yo, my man, you understand, this is what I do. I let you have my gold and my secrets. You stop my 22, because my 22 and knows what to do. When it don't like it to wait, yeah, but if the hits don't do the job, and then I whip it about my 38, because my 38 will shoot so straight. Yes, I got ammo galore, high, but if that thing don't do the job, you know I got a pearl and a 44. I'm in the house, y'all, with my rounds galore. A fair five, keep you rockin' on the floor. So rock, y'all, to hit the top, y'all. And let's hip it hop, the hip hop, you don't stop. Just hip it hop, the hip hop, the boxy rock, yes, rockin' on, huh? And I'm a rockin' strong. Charlie Chase on the beat box. Charlie Chase on the beat box. Just rockin' it. Yeah, 1, 2 to the beat, y'all. Like this, y'all. And we don't stop, and we don't quit. Charlie Chase, rockin' it. Yeah. 1, 2. On and on. Set, mic, I said the president said candidates, let's grab the mic. Start the debate, so let's rock to the rhythm of the LA born. Let's rock it really on. It started in the city about 10 years ago when uncontrollable force tap begins to grow. Black, white, yellow, red, or brown, or any animal or sex was allowed to get down. His name was Taki 183, from a small town in Greece. He was the first in New York to spread a tag around for 5 years. He didn't see, yeah. See, they come in the night with the colors bright to commit this daring deed. The third rail is there, but they have no fear, cause they know that they must succeed. I mean graffiti, rocking the house, New York graffiti, rocks in.
See, so this is the Cold Crush Brothers. Wrote on Tokyo 1983, and they're on a Japan tour, and Japanese don't even speak English, so I mean, it's crazy.
You need jet plus black to make it a gas, you don't stop. A graffiti rock, you need a little yellow to make it look mellow. You don't stop. A graffiti rock, you need a little bit of blue to get the thing through. You don't stop that graffiti, the graffiti hot, the graffiti rock, yeah. So you're such a beast and it's really on. The elevator to the crack of dawn, from the television to the radio. You know it's rocking and it's on the go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So what you wanna do? So come alive, y'all. No job, y'all. And just listen to the sounds of Fan 5, y'all. Like this, huh? And when I'm rocking on, I rock to the rhythm, to the break of dawn. And it's all said and even read in the papers around the world that high Fan 5 ready will rock a real steady. Make a lady out of all you girls. Like this, like that. Cool beat boys never ever be the whack. Yeah, checking it out one time for your mind. My man Charlie Chase on the wheels of steel. DJ for the Cold Crush Brothers. Get ready to cut things up in the place to be. Want you to check them out on the 2 turntables. My man, one of New York's baddest scratch mixers in the house right about now. I want you to check them out. Charlie Chase, get loose one time for the people. Yeah, check it out. Charlie Chase, Charlie Chase, Charlie Chase. Feel the highs and feel the bass. One, two, 1, 2. This is what I want to do. There was a full moon in the middle of June in the summer of '79. And when I seen a death freak that I wanted to meet, she was nice. I had a sweet behind, huh? I said, hey, baby doll, do you have a minute? You're looking kind of cute. Yeah, she said, yes, fly guy with your handsome self. But you can call me Patty Doo. Yeah, that's Patty Doo Doo. What's her name? Teasing all the fellas. What's her game? With a wink of an eye or a shake of a leg, cause she can make a Casanova call in faith. I said, listen, Miss Lady, what I got to say, we can take a ride in my OOJ, or we can cruise on down to 42nd Street, or maybe check out a movie, get a bite to eat, or maybe check out a movie, or even a play. Then we rockin' my house to the break of day. But when we got into my OJ, started to roll, she thought she had me under control. So then I moved on over, moved on in, yes, I'm ready to commit the cardinal sin. Yeah, we traded kisses all through the night, and then I rocked her to the early light, like this, like that. But she know that I was not the whack. 1, 2, 3, 4. What you waiting for? Clap your hands, everybody, and everybody, clap your hands. Come on, clap your hands to the beat now, and everybody, clap your hands. Come on, clap your hands to the beat. So clap your hands to the beat. And if you're feeling good and you're all on go, somebody let me know. Let me hear you say ho, ho, ho. Ho, ho, ho. Hear ya, well I hear ya. One time, blow your mind. Charlie Chase, keep the beat right on time. Like this, y'all, like that, y'all. Yeah, have a little fun in the place to be. Yeah.
And that's Tony Chon right there in the screen on the right. Tony Chon is on the right, and then Charlie Chase right there.
We get ready to change the beat. Thank you. Watashi wa Tokyo Ski. Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I got for now. Alright, so yeah, that's gonna be the end of this video. Peace out.